directly over my father's juke joint. In case there's a train derailment, people would have another way out of downtown, said Fred Rayford, the public works director, to a reporter for The Advocate. There hadn't been a train derailment in the area since the Blues Box opened 20 years ago. Many people in the black community could not understand why the overpass required the loss of a major landmark and historical attraction, a loss that would further devastate the frail neighborhood. We cannot always put infrastructure improvements on the people who can least afford the improvements, said Cedric B. Glover, a state representative from the community, expressing his dissatisfaction with the plan on the evening news. If the burden is placed on Rose and Thomas Cafe, a black-owned mom-and-pop soul food joint next door, and Tabby's Blues Box, we haven't gained as much as we think, he said into the camera. Baton Rouge voters, after much consternation, approved a tax to pay for the road project. The road widening of North Boulevard, which many deemed an ominous harbinger of gentrification, was set to level every building remaining on the once burgeoning Negro thoroughfare, the conspicuous exception being the Masonic Temple Theater across the street. The project would cost about $7 million. The development's main concern was the Kansas City Southern Railroad line, a block away from Tabby's Blues Box. The construction would also widen North Boulevard between North 10th and North 19th Streets into 4 lanes. The bridge would run above the Griffin Building, built in the 1920s, which housed both Tabby's Blues Box and Rose and Thomas Cafe. Everyone understood that if the city bulldozed North Boulevard, supposedly to ease future traffic, the historic black business district would be no more. My family, along with other North Boulevard proprietors, received a letter from the director of the Department of Public Works. We were invited to a Metro Council meeting on the 3rd floor of a governmental building at 222 St. Louis Street the following Tuesday, July 28th. When I arrived at the adjudication hearing with my father, every seat in the sweltering room was taken. The assembly was boisterous, the tension thick. The attendees were split down the middle. Some wanted to preserve our juke joint and the character of the neighborhood. Others urged demolition, demanding the officials' plans move forward. When it was my turn to speak from the podium, using notes I'd prepared the night before, I talked about Tabby's contributions to the city's culture and economy. I argued that our juke joint had been undervalued. I had recently performed in Washington, D.C., on a bill with Clarence Gatemouth Brown. In my hotel, I'd noticed a tourism ad for Baton Rouge. The ad featured a picture of a crawfish, a floating casino, and a picture of Tabby's Blues Box, home of the blues. I couldn't understand why our hall couldn't be interwoven into the city's plans for the future. I urged they consider the iconic juke joint as a potential key attraction in a redeveloped downtown. I was unable to persuade the myopic officials to reconsider. I felt helpless. The diagnosis for my beloved Blues Box was terminal. My grief was the type reserved for the death of a family member. He's given so much over the years, I said of my dad to a local news reporter covering the event. For the city to just bulldoze him down, I can't even believe that they would do that. I still can't believe it's going to happen. Wire services picked up the story. Articles of Tabby's demise ran in major newspapers across the country. In Europe, the most lucrative festival market for blues musicians, blues magazines covered the looming raise as though a Picasso or Van Gogh was